songs. But it's definitely like a hat kind of day. So that's gonna be the vibe. Vibe and a hat vibe. I feel like I'm surrounded by chords right now. Make sure my audio is freaking fire. Yeah. Woo! I say we just get right into it. I'm just gonna get right into it. Okay. Dear God, please let this podcast go good. Please let this reach a lot of people. And do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do, Jesus. Do what you gotta do. What's going on, you guys? Welcome to Keeping Up Cash. It's your host, Cash Money Morgan. Oh my gosh, you guys. This episode is about to go crazy. I honestly feel like it could be a two-parter. And who knows? There's just so much to say and do and go. And I also have these amazing questions you guys asked in the anonymous questionnaire. Thank you so much for doing that. Seriously, love you guys. Big slay, big slay. I'm also recording, like I feel like today is the only day that I've had somewhat energy. Yesterday I had every intention of recording, and then I came home and got into this like depressive nap. Daylight savings is never my vibe. I love an extra night of sleep, but I'm such an outdoors kind of girly pop that it's really difficult for me to like not want to sleep. And I was just in a really sad mood yesterday, and so I remember I called my sister. Well, actually she called me, Slay, Lauren Slay, and she was like, I just kind of told her like, hey, this is going on. I'm really lost. Like I really need direction. I'm upset. I'm stressed. And she was like, dude, God's got you. Like he's got your whole life. Like he's got it since you were born. Like don't trip. Don't sweat. And I'm like, okay, you're right. And then I got up. I made some pizza. I played some trap music. I danced. Haley McCormick will say this too. Dancing cures so much. Dance it out. Let it out. Vibe. Often Shakira can just make it happen. Kesha. And then I felt better. So, but I didn't want to record the podcast yesterday because I was just like not in the right mood and headspace. And today I so am. Obviously I'm going crazy. And after this, I'm popping by my girl, Hannah Reuter, with the Non-Toxic Podcast 1 year celebration. So I'm excited to pop out and celebrate. I think it's important, like queens support queens. Like if you have a really great friend in the same space, like nothing has to always be a competition. Like I'm so happy for my friends. I love that we are similar. And I just think so many times women will like pin each other against each other when really it's like, yo, let's just be happy that we're all in this together. Like let's just Barbie movie, let's just vibe together. So first and foremost, there's just a lot to get into. I've mentioned in the advertising that this episode is going to talk about distractions. It's going to talk about idols, and it's going to talk about direction. And that's a lot of stuff that I feel like God's been putting on my heart and really getting into. But before we get into really that and like the meat of the episode, I want to go through just some updates. Let's just pretend it's like we're in a Monday morning meeting. So first and foremost, podcast studio. If everything goes amazing, this will be the last solo pod I will film here in the loft. What? Oh my gosh. My girl Gabby Fields, Cameron Schween, Caleb Schween, the gang over at Classics, been putting in work in the studio, and I don't know what life has to hold, and I'm not making any guarantees or promises, but hopefully we get to at least do an episode in there and see what happens. So I'm excited about that. 2, all of my trademark stuff has gotten approved. I just need to pay for the federal government fees, and they're pretty steep for a girly pop like me. So if anyone really wants the merchandise and you want to donate to the government fee for both the trademarks, it's in total around like $2,000. So even if you want to donate like $5 towards merch, it goes a long way. I really want to release it, and I'll probably make some prototypes for some really close friends and family in the meantime. But before I get that, like to fully release it, I'll probably need to have all that stuff taken care of. So if you want to donate at all, that's the cost, and I would love to accept it. So just wanted to throw that out there. So those are the big major updates, I guess, so far with the podcast. Also just trying to get my crop together so that we can start producing more video content. Again, if you're challenged in that space and you'd love to help, I do have some friends who are going to kind of like partner with me and my team, but we're just getting some of the like equipment, logistics stuff out of the way. So that's housekeeping stuff. That's what's new with the podcast, I guess, in terms of business. I'm also so grateful and honored because I've been doing a lot of things just like out and about, and people like always really want to be on the podcast, and that is just one of the biggest compliments is, I am someone that will like reach out to people that I think are like really cool or inspiring that I like meet and whatnot. But anyone that ever like shows interest and like really wants to be on, it's such an honor. there's a lot of podcasts starting to pop out in Springfield, and especially just like in life. And so when people want to be on mine that, you know, has like multiple different areas and niches, and it's kind of like lifestyle, but it's real, it's authentic. I'm always so honored when people want to be a part of it. So thank you so much, you guys. You rock. I don't even need to like get into it. You already know it. So let's recap a little bit of what's been going on the past couple weeks / months, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of the episode. So first and foremost, I visited my queen, Andy, which my girl will be on the podcast at some point in Kansas City. And I'm not a Chiefs fan, obviously. I mean, I think they have a great business model. They're not on the list of teams that I hate, so that's great. You know who you are, Vikings, Bears. But we're just casually at the Chiefs game, and obviously, you know, there's like some fun flirting between Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, and we're like pretty high up, and then all of a sudden this mom from the Bears is kind of annoying me, and she's just like saying all this stuff, and we hear her say, T Swift is in the house. And it's crazy because obviously like Andy and I are on social media, you know, we're posting stuff about the game. We hadn't seen it, like we're just like in the moment, and these moms kept being like, Taylor Swift is here. And I'm like, this chick is so crazy. Like, she is from Chicago. Like, what is, she's a Bears fan. Like, we are losing. Like, girl, what? And next thing I know, I actually go on Instagram, and everywhere it's like, Taylor Swift is in the box, like directly across from you. And it's just insane. Like, I could not believe, like, I didn't go to a Taylor concert. Like, I wasn't going to drop that much money. And the fact that I was at Arrowhead with Taylor Swift breathing the same air was just like insane to me. It was just crazy. And then obviously Andy and I made a TikTok, and it went it got pretty viral a little bit, I guess, on Instagram. So that was really cool to see. Shout out to all the Swifties listening to the podcast. You are welcome here and you are safe. But it was so crazy that like Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, they had actually rented out Prime Social for that night, and all hung out with like the players and the family. But Andy and I literally went and ate at Prime Social the night before. So it was just crazy on top of crazy that I was just like in multiple areas as Taylor Swift, but never fully got to like meet her. So that was so nuts, but it was a great way to like end September and just kind of like get right into October. A lot happened in October, multiple weddings. I got to see some friends from college, which was like so nice because I socialize all the time, but like hanging out with like old homies is just like such a fun feeling. So I'm so happy that Anthony and Scout got married. Love you guys, big slay. They're both my favorite people. And then getting into Callie, Carol, and Seth's wedding. So you guys might have seen it on my Instagram, the red dress, it was black tie. It was just such a beautiful, beautiful marriage. And obviously Callie's been on the podcast. You gotta listen to her episode. She's such a queen. But it was really cool because, you know, Callie's someone that has, you know, waited a long time for like a really good man, and she wanted a man of God and like a man who was gonna lead her. And so it was just, it was so encouraging and like emotional to see like this man and woman really wait for what God had, and like just the blessing that was surrounding them the whole night. So I love you guys so much, and it was such a gorgeous wedding, and it was so unique, and every little detail was thought of, and absolutely amazing. So I'm so grateful that I get to be a part of all my friends' wedding. And it's so cool that like everyone's getting married. And I think people ask me sometimes, they're like, oh my gosh, are you like always a bridesmaid, never a bride? Like, how do you, and I'm like, I just don't feel that way at all. I think wedding planning would be a little stressful, and would I like to have a boyfriend? Yes, but also I don't really want one in Springfield, just because I don't know if Springfield is like super duper end game for me forever, and I really want to like see the world and travel and stuff, and so I don't really want something to hold me back, but also I'm open to whatever God has for me. So that's why I'm just like so happy for all my friends, and I don't feel that way. Like I don't get really jealous. I just like live in the moment, I guess, and I'm really just like happy that I'm a part of that aspect of their life. So fun, so slay. A lot of other crazy things have happened. Like October was actually one of the most insane months. From a mental health aspect, there is a lot that I can't necessarily say on the podcast. Like sometimes it's hard for me because I'm an oversharer and I want to tell you guys everything. Like I want to be able to just pour my heart out and you guys know absolutely everything. But there's some things that like I have to have certain boundaries about or can't say, whether for like protection or privacy or just, you know, for my own sake. But I want you to know that like I can post things on social media that are like sunshine and roses. But you know, there are things that can happen in the background that are really difficult. And I normalize like life is not always sunshine and peaches and roses and vibes. Like it's a lot of, you know, if I'm pennyboarding, that's sometimes because I'm clearing my head because I'm so upset. Or if I'm sleeping, or if I'm kayaking, like there's a lot of things that I do that I'll post like, oh, I'm doing this. But really it's because I'm pushing out that emotion in a physical activity. So especially like me in the gym, like taking that really seriously and different things. It's, you know, there's a lot of moments in October that were really low and were really difficult. And I'm really grateful for the people that God's put in my life and the conversations. I'm so blessed by professors, mentors, friends. Our small group has been thriving. We've had new girls. We've honestly created a really good like best friend bond. We're diving deeper into like hearing God's voice, challenging each other. You know, physically, mentally, spiritually, and like what that looks like in today's age. And so I'm really blessed for the amount of support that I'm surrounded by, especially with having my family far away. So I want to make it clear that, you know, there are like my life, you know, I post a lot on social media and I say these like highlight moments here in the podcast, and there are episodes that are like low, but I do want you to know that I'm going through crap. I would say it's been one of the hardest seasons. I'm going through something that I've really never had to experience before. And if I had to classify and categorize this season, it would be like fully trusting God. And it's like you're riding a horse and you like go completely off the reins. Like Carrie Underwood, like Jesus take the wheel. Like for real. Like it's one thing when you're like singing it and like saying it and you're like, God, I trust you. Like no, like literally I have no idea. Letting go of the reins. You're in control. And it's one of the most terrifying feelings ever. But that's how it is. So I'm a little bit crazy and a little bit like, every single week. It's like something different every week. And I'm like, dude, can we just chill for 5 minutes? Like, can I just watch a movie, pet a dog, and then everything stays the same in life? But that's not usually how God works. So slay. But yeah, what I wanted to say is it's like, let's not all believe social media. Like we can post happy highlight reels, but remember that like, it's not always sunshine and daisies. There are things that are going on from the back end. And so reminder, like always just pray for your people, you know, pray for the people that you love, pray for people you don't know, like always just be mindful that humans are humans and we're all going through stuff. So that's really big. Couple things. So October obviously was really busy, but a lot of highs, a lot of lows. Talking about some of the highs before I started skateboarding, which it's something I've always been passionate about. I've always wanted to do. Lately I've been like, okay, Morgan, like, what do you want to do? Like, I'd love to learn Spanish. I would love to become really good at skateboarding. I want to get really good at surfing. And so I've pennyboarded for 5 years, which some people would say pennyboarding is actually harder than skateboarding because it's a smaller board and it's easy to get in accidents or fall. You have more control, but you can't do tricks. And so I want to do tricks. So I got a skateboard, you know, it's just like something to keep me going for right now. I would always get a better board in the future. But it's been cool. Like, it's obviously I'm not like a super beginner because I've had the pennyboard experience, but you know, being careful, learning tricks, it's a really different board. So it's been cool. It's like cool learning something new, and I like it. I like skateboarding. But I am nervous that I'm gonna eat it at some point, so I probably need to get like knee pads and headgear and all that stuff. I want to shout out my girl Tiffany. This queen reached out to me on Instagram and was like, hey girl, I see you have a podcast in town. I would love to do a free photo shoot with you. You know, we'll do the content. And of course, like, I obviously love photography and modeling, videography. I love all the creative juices, right? So in my mind, I'm like, well, this woman must have had to find me from Elwood. I've done so many shoots there. And so I pull up to the shoot, you know, I made sure it wasn't sex trafficking or anything. You know, we have the outfits, we have the vision board, we have the vibe. I go there and she's so cool. And I was like, well, how did you find me out? She's like, we just typed in like podcast in Springfield, like on Instagram and Google. I was like, what? I came on, Like, I'm doing SEO right. Like, shout out to the marketing. I was so honored that like this girl had never like known me from anybody, and then she just found me from marketing efforts online. So she absolutely slayed the photo shoot. I'm not going to release it yet till my 2-year, but one of her photos is going to be the new cover photo. So shout out to my girl Tiffany. You guys, it's like Tanowski branding on Instagram. Follow this queen because she's going places. I'm so grateful for her. It was the most fun shoot. We got the best content. And I'm so blessed because last year with the podcast party for the first year, you know, I had started planning that bad boy like in August. And I put a lot of money into it, a lot of thought, a lot of investments. And that was such a vibe. And it was so fun. And it got me so many places. This year has been a lot different. This year has been, I would say, mentally tougher. And God's had other things in the pipeline for me. And so will I have a 2-year podcast party? I very much want to. I very much want to open it up more to the public as well. But it's probably not going to be as crazy as the last one. But as far as I know, I want to have another one. So there's no details planned out yet. It's very early in the pipeline and the mindset, but it's on my radar. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Continuing, so a cool partnership I have moving on is with Missouri State football with the, I'm really tight with my girl Julia Spiva. She is with the Football Players Association. And so I've helped out with their different programs and I help volunteer and do whatever. And so because of that, I get like accesses and I get, you know, I'm like cool with the players or whatever, blah, 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 blah. I probably could be cooler, but anyways, I just get like, I get to be with Julia and I love her. She's like a mentor. She is such a good friend. And so when we volunteer and work together, I get to be close to the field and kind of get to be in areas that, you know, are expensive and people, you know, really value. And so I'm really grateful just for the opportunity to, you know, talk about marketing or the podcast and be in that space. So we recently had MSU homecoming, which I've never been to MSU homecoming. It was my first time not being at Evangel homecoming. Which was different for me, you know, EU, go Valor. But I was like, honestly, at this point, you know, I'm 2 years out of college, right? Is it 2 years? This is technically, I guess, the 3rd year. This going like this. Okay, I did marketing, not math. But anyways, so I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, I don't even know really any of the players anymore. Like, let me just do this MSU thing. So we volunteered at the, you know, football players booth, vibes. It was so fun, so great. I like saw so many different guys I used to talk to. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize. But MSU guys, they're like different than Evangel guys. Like when you see a guy you used to talk to, they don't like pretend like they don't know you. They're like, hey, oh my gosh, how are you? You look so good, blah, blah, blah. Even though they like ghosted you, you know? Versus like EU guys, I can't speak for all EU guys, but I feel like EU culture sometimes, like you'll go to Walmart and you'll see someone that you like literally graduated with and walked with and they'll just ignore you. And I don't understand why it is that way or why we do that, but I really appreciated the fact that these MSU guys did not. So shout out to you guys. That was awesome. But it was really cool. So we volunteered, then we got to be in like VIP booths, then we got to walk the field, and then just kind of be with like donors and sponsors. And so it was just like so cool being in that environment. And Julia's so wise and just having conversations about life and, you know, what you want out of life. And I think it's so important to have those kind of conversations like at every age. And, you know, talking with your partner, talking with your friends, and having that open communication. And, you know, finding joy in the struggle in every single moment. So she's been someone that has been such an amazing friend and asset to me. So I love you, Queen. Thank you so much. And just, you know, being able to, I'm 24 and I put this huge pressure on myself. Like, you should be making more money. You should be doing this. Your podcast isn't as good as this podcast. Like, you should be doing that. And it's like, Morgan, stop, you know, breathe. Look around you. Look at the awesome life you live in. Look at the amazing friends you have. Look at the connections. Look what God has brought you. Look at your job. Look at everything. You know, be grateful for what you have. And I think it's so important to slow down, be still, and be grateful for the things you have. And that's something that I've really, really been focusing on is whenever my anxiety is at a high, whenever I'm upset, whenever I'm lost, and I let go of the reins and I'm starting to get, you know, weary. I'm like, thank you, God, for everything, for being everything that I need. And that's it, period. And so that has been kind of crazy. But, you know, it's like go, 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 go. And every moment's been teaching me something else. In October, we had the Walk for Freedom for Stand Against Trafficking. It's a coalition in town about anti-sex trafficking. We meet once a month. Anyone is welcome to join. We have options for Zoom or showing up at the Community Partnership of the Ozarks. It's a great organization to be a part of because people don't know what it looks like online. And they don't know like signs to look for. I mean, and I'm gonna get into this a little bit more, but it's happening. It's not just getting snatched on the street. It's, you know, maybe being catfished on Tinder or whatever it may be. So having education, understanding the signs, because our job roles, we need to know what it looks like so that like if you're a nurse and you can see a kid has weird marks on her arm or she's malnourished or she's really tired and something's not normal, you can pick it up and ask the right questions and you could save a kid's life. So being informed and educated is important for every single job role, and you can make a difference in a kid's life if you understand the signs and how to stop it. So yeah, it's been really cool. They recently elected me to social media chair there, so I'm now volunteering. I'm really excited to be a part of that team. And I told them, I was like, you guys, I have no idea the direction of what everything's going in my life, but I want to help you in any way that I can. And the team freaking rocks. So I'm really empowered and excited to be a part of something so important to me and making a change where I live here locally. Now we're gonna get to the meat and potatoes, you guys. I know, keep the seatbelt a little fastened, a little loosened. You're like, Morgan, take a breath. You are talking in 2 speed. I keep trying to see that if I have, you know, your voice on the faster mode, and it's not, it's just you talking. I know, guys, I'm so sorry. It's just I'm so excited and I'm frazzled, blah, 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 blah. So now we're gonna get a little bit, a few more catching up stories before we get in the meat and potatoes and the Q&A. I know you're so excited. Kansas City Fashion Week. So let's talk about that. So if I can be transparent, I don't know what's going on in my life. Like, I know when people say that, you're like, oh, they're so like delusional and cute. Like, no, I'm so serious. I'm so serious. And so the best thing I do when I feel a little lost is to make really chaotic decisions. Typically it's like get a tattoo, then it's dye your hair. I already did that. I need to probably do it again. And then it's like take a trip. I was gonna do that. And then I was like super delusional and lost. And I honestly love modeling. Like I really love creative designers, fashion, but I really have always loved like modeling and doing stuff like that. And obviously I'm in Springfield, and so it's not the ideal place to even dabble in something like that. And so I'm pretty like plugged in when it comes to following different things in Kansas City. And it just randomly popped up where they were having audition castings for their Kansas City Fashion Week. So I just applied, and then I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna go. And so I hit up a few friends, and then one of my girls was like, hey, like, Emily Terry, actually from one of the episodes, check her out. I was like, hey Queen, can I like crash with you? Super random. But the way that I text my friends is so crazy. Like we haven't chatted in a while. I just messaged her and I'm like, hey, can I ask you a really random question? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, what are you doing Saturday night? And she's like, nothing. And I'm like, can I stay with you? And so I like pulled up, and she didn't even know what I was auditioning for until I just got there. And I was like, hey, this is my outfit. I practiced, whatever. I was so nervous. So basically, they were like, okay, you want to wear really tight skinny jeans, have like a black shirt, heels over 3 inches, whatever. It's gonna take 5 minutes. We're gonna do headshots, measurements, and your walk. It'll be really fast. And then they said that basically they had like all these different rounds of auditions, and anyone could audition from like 5 years old to just up, and like male and female. And then they were going to do one more round this weekend, and then they're going to do an Instagram post. And they're like, once we do the Instagram post, either you got a message that like a designer chose you, or you didn't. And if you didn't, then we don't want you. And so I am pretty lost a little bit in my life. And so I just was like, I want to do this. And I don't even know if I can or whatever, but I'm going to audition. So I drove all the way there. Like stayed with Emily, we laughed and laughed all night long. We got to catch up, which I felt like was such a fun God thing. Like warmed my soul just catching up with her and just getting to share memories. So fun. And then the next morning, I was genuinely nervous. Like I don't remember the last time I tried out for something that I was that nervous. Like we're talking like senior year championship game, like volleyball, nervous. You know, performing in a play, nervous. Like I was that nervous, I almost threw up. And I get there, I'm super nervous, in retrospect, I probably would have chosen more of a stiletto heel. I didn't realize like they want stiletto over a little thicker. Mine was like a little bit in the middle. But yeah, I got there. I wore like my new fashion jacket from the Love brand. So excited about that brand. And yeah, we did my measurements, my headshot, and right away the runway. And I felt like my walk was good. Like I felt confident about it. I probably could have been better, but I didn't screw up in any way. And I also said that they don't have to pay me because I just want to be chosen so badly that I'm like, yeah, I mean, they kind of were asking like, if you're in an agency, well, you know, can you connect your agency so we can do payment? The designers will pay. And obviously I don't have an agency, you know, down the line, if I do get this and like I get more opportunities, yeah, I obviously want to be paid. Especially like just even like locally, if it's doing a photo shoot that's like fun and like supports me and like helps my career, yeah, I don't mind doing it for free. If it's like a really cool shoot or like it's a creative idea, it's like my idea or whatever, I'm always down for that. But if it's like a product shoot that's like putting money in someone else's pocket but I get nothing, then no, like you gotta pay me for that. So that was crazy. Like I literally drove there, hung out with Emily, did the shoot, and then drove back, and it was insane. So I'm sure here in the next few weeks I'll find out. And then they're like, if you don't do it and you don't, I don't know, it's crazy. I don't know. I'm excited. Who knows? C'est la vie. That's very much how it is. Shout out to Gailey's restaurant. They actually hung up my podcast sticker on their like drinks, like the bar area. So if you're ever in there and you look for the OG podcast sticker, please take a picture of it and like tag me and whatever, because I love Gailey's, obviously, and I'm so honored to just like have my sticker in their location. So shout out to Gailey's. Big slay, big slay. So we're almost done with the story times, guys. I know there's been a lot. So what I do want to say is shout out my bestie Eva ran a half marathon. She's a queen. So go Eva, I love you. Love her so much. It was so fun to be there. I wrote her a poster that said run like Matthew McConaughey's at the finish line, because that's like her man crush. So impressive. She was someone that wasn't really a runner, and she was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna do this. And she's been training for months. So I'm just so proud of my bestie. As I mentioned, I was a little bit lost in Delulu, and I'm Keegan's flight buddy till December. So I was initially gonna do a San Diego trip and go with some friends, and then she wasn't able to go, totally okay. So I was still like gung-ho, I'm like, I'm gonna go on this trip. I'm gonna surf, I'm gonna hike, I'm gonna go to an interactive art museum, I'm gonna vibe. I just feel like, you know, San Diego is rated one of the best places to live in the country. I'll be the judge of that kind of area. Plus, I was like, you know what, maybe I'd go on a date while I'm there and be super safe. Dad, I know you're listening to this. You know, I had I don't know, just wanted, like Uber to a restaurant or whatever it may be, and then Uber home. Like I obviously am in this anti-sex trafficking group, like I'm smart, I'm gonna protect myself, I'm gonna catch a vibe. And so I went on Hinge and sent it to San Diego. And like, to me, it's like a social experiment. Like, why the heck not, right? And I have not even been on a dating app in so long. Like, it's been so long, and I'm kind of not taking it serious. And so I went on Hinge, and like every guy is my type. Oh my gosh, like my type is like Australians, men from San Diego, and like a Wisconsin boy. Like I do like me like a Wisconsin boy. Surfers, like give me the blonde hair, like give me the muscular. Like I'm very basic when it comes to what I like. But anyways, all these gorgeous men, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So I ended up matching with this guy that is so fine. Like, oh my gosh, so attractive. And so I messaged him, and I'm like, oh, by the way, guys, this doesn't go anywhere. Okay, this is just between you and me. So I messaged this guy, and I was like, yo, like, what's your fun fact? Like, wow, Morgan, the Riz. And he goes, he's like, oh, my dad's a pervert. And I'm like, ooh, it smells like a red flag. Like, how are you supposed to, like, what? I'm, like, in this anti-sex trafficking group. Like, I'm the freaking social media chair. Like, how are you just gonna, But I honestly kept the conversation going. Like, obviously, at this point, I was already, like, gross. Like, I don't know. And it just got so much worse. Like, I tried to, like, bring it back to normalcy, and he just kept making it, like, worse and worse and worse. Essentially, the way that the conversation ended was him being like, okay, so I'll take you on a date, and then we'll hook up, and then we'll steal a boat. So if we steal a boat, will you sail the boat with me? And I'm like, this guy is so serious. Like, first of all, I do not like dating apps, because I'm like, I don't know what it is between a man and a screen where he thinks that he just is entitled to anything. I'm like, I don't know where you got the idea that I would just hook up with you. Like, you're so in the wrong for that. And then like, oh, you'll take me on a date first. Like, oh, I'm so lucky. Winner me. Yay. Like, what? And then like, you want to steal a boat. I'm like, dude, I like in the nicest way possible. Like, can I just like send you the coordinates to a mental hospital? Like, something is just not right with that guy. So I left him on red because I was scared. Like, Mom, I want to go home. And I'm probably going to delete Hinge here in like 2 days. But yeah, but the guys are pretty good looking there. So in case you're wondering where in the country, San Diego. But yeah, now I'm actually not able to go to San Diego. It's okay. I'm trying to save some money and upgrade some of my laptops and things like that. And, Thanksgiving, Christmas is coming up. But I wanted to tell you my little pre-San Diego story because it's just like wild, But it's okay. I'm glad that I, found out that this guy was so wacky before I attempted to go on a date with him. Anyways, so now let's get into the meat and potatoes. Idols, distractions, and direction. I noticed that a lot in the Q&A, which honestly, some of the things in the Q&A I may save for some other episodes too, because you guys really great questions and information. A lot of people are looking for guidance and direction and peace. And to be honest, October and most of November has been, end of September too, has just been really difficult. I've had depressive moments. I've had a lot of anxiety. I actually had an anxiety attack at one point. And I've been really lost. And my accountability partner, Chloe, we were just chatting about some of that stuff. And she was like, have you considered fasting? And I was like, no, I have not considered fasting. And, for my own eating problems and stomach issues, me not eating for multiple meals is not a good idea. But I look at fasting and I'm like, where am I spending all my time that isn't God? And I noticed it was, TikTok. So I was fasting TikTok and I was like, oh my gosh, is this how people feel when they can't vape? Because I was so bored and I was getting so much stuff done. But it was really hard. I really had to resist the urge to not go on TikTok. And I didn't realize how unhealthy it was for me. And really pressing in, praying and asking God, okay, I'm trusting you. Please show me the direction. Please show me the way. Open the doors, blah, blah, blah. So I was fasting TikTok and that was great. I felt like God started pouring more things on my heart and I had more peace. So I will say, this is kind of embarrassing, but again, it's just between you and me. So obviously, I'm not dating right now, and there's really nothing going on like that for me, and it's okay because my life is so busy and there's so much going on that I felt like I was really single last year, where I went on a lot of dates last year. I definitely was on some Morgan single behavior, and this year I am just honestly, right now I'm not really interested unless I'm interested, and that's kind of just my vibe. But I've been putting this energy into this crush I have and just pouring it into this obsession. And it's a celebrity crush. It's so out of touch and embarrassing, but I'm why not? This man is fine, whatever. So I had this celebrity crush. So I was fasting TikTok and then I was pouring all my time into this celebrity crush, watching his YouTube videos, watching his podcast, thinking about him, blah, 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 blah. And it was embarrassing, but that's, that's what I was just doing, I'm well, this guy's funny to me. I'm gonna watch his content. I'm just gonna watch it. And I still felt like I was putting that over God and an unhealthy, obsessive amount. Where honestly, these things were idols in my life. They were I'm spending all this time on TikTok and I spend 20 minutes with God before bed. Or I'm spending all my time thinking about this guy, this is how embarrassing it is, you guys, is he posted a photo with a girl and I almost threw up. I was so upset. I called Eva and I was about to cry. Tell me why I can go to the gym and see people that from my past that I could care less about, and then all of a sudden I go on Instagram and I see this celebrity post with a girl and I'm oh my gosh, I want to die inside. So insane, so unhealthy, and it became this obsession. And I was spending all of my time with these delusional thoughts over God. And so when I saw he posted the girl, it kind of killed it, which thank God. I feel I never do things for myself. God always has to be dog. No. I always learn from experience. Morgan, what are you doing? So whatever. So I've kind of been, I still honestly want to like kind of continually fast from TikTok during the week. It is hard when I like post marketing stuff or like, you know, pushing out brand and whatever, blah, 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 blah. But it was good to like kind of hone back in, and I'm glad, I'm glad you posted with a girl. Like, I'm glad I came back to reality. I'm glad I'm back down to earth and like spending more time with God and really just kind of like living and trusting in. And it's crazy, but like, what's the idol in your life? Body image is a huge one, and I see that oftentimes in guys where they're never satisfied like in their body. It's the number one thing and they can't stop thinking about it. Like, guess what? You know, your body is important. Your body is a temple. Like yes, you want to look good. That's amazing. But like, how's your heart? How's your mind? How are you treating others? Like, your body is not the most important thing about you, you know? Or what about, you know, like influencer? Do you want to be an influencer? Is that the only thing you think about? Is that the only thing you focus on? Your job, you know, your friends, your boyfriend. Like, what is your relationship with God like in comparison to these other people? And just realizing, like, I got so much done when I was off TikTok. Like, I started to scrapbook, I'm reading books, I'm like organizing my bed, like I'm doing all this stuff that I never would do, and really asking God, like, what do you want of me? The best thing that came out of it was I started praying for people that I typically wouldn't. Like, say I'm going to bed and I'm really tired and I'm like praying to God and I read my Bible, like I'm really me focused. But when I had all this time, I'm like praying for, you know, people in all over the world. Obviously there's a lot going on right now, so I'm praying for everyone, and I'm praying for like my old friends, and just going through the list in my phone of these people that, you know, have asked me for prayer, and like being really serious about it and journaling. And so I ask you where you're spending your most time, and ask yourself, is it most effective? Is this building me up? Is this building my relationship with God? Is this helping others? Am I becoming a better person? Like, what does that look like for you? And what is an idol that's holding you back? Because often we don't even know what is holding us back. So that was one, like idols and distractions. But I would say one of the biggest things is when I was talking to my accountability partner, I was like, I need guidance, I need direction. And when she said, she was like, when you're fasting, she's so smart. My girl was like, what, 21, 22? She's so freaking smart. Chloe, you listen to this, you're such a smart and cool prodigal. I'm so blessed to have you in my life, like for real. But she was like, you know, allow this time to ask God what he wants to do and figure out what you want to do. Figure out who you want to be, where you want to go in life. Like, think about it. And I spent time really thinking about it. And there's a lot of things that I could see myself like doing in life and like excelling or like trying different things. And I really put together a list of like things I would like to do and am passionate about. And it helps when there's so many things you don't know, but then you write down something that you do know. And it kind of like makes you feel like at home and peace with that. And so I'm blessed for that time to step away from TikTok and get away from the noise. And life, you know, it's like life is so much more than just a 6-second video and posting content. Like, it's deeper than that, and allowing yourself to tag into that and give yourself some time just to be. And, you know, obviously social media is huge, like it's part of my job, you know, but then kind of backing up and realizing and asking yourself hard-hitting questions and taking a break from social media. So that is big when it comes to idols, distractions, and I feel like from that fast, I have a really good sense of direction. I don't know everything in life, I'm pretty lost, but I do know deep down a lot of things that I think want to do. So that's exciting. So yeah, I mean, I really want to encourage you that an idol can come into your life and you may not be able to label what it is, but it's there. So really asking yourself, you know, what it's doing for you, pushing yourself to separate yourself from it, fast from it, whatever it may be, and then allowing God to come into your life and be the loudest speaker. And something I'm always asking is like, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? But it's like, what do you want me to do? Like, how can I serve you? How can I build your kingdom? Like, asking him how he wants to use us. So that's something that I encourage you to do is what is higher than God right now in your life? And how can you change that? So honestly, and my DMs are open. So if you like live, not in a romantic way, my DMs are open in the sense where like, if that hits you different and that resonates with you, you can message me, and it can be a not like private or anonymous, whatever it may be, and we can have a conversation to make that deeper. Because because I know that like this was really big in my life. And so if you're going to something like that and you want support and prayer or whatever it may be, let me know, because I'm here for you. Like, I'm here for you, and I want to help you and support you. Like, I am that kind of podcast host. Like, we are friends. Like, do that. You know, I'm here for you. So I just wanted to like throw that out there, that you're never alone, and that, you know, when I'm saying this, I'm speaking from my heart, and I'm feeling like I need to say this for somebody. So I hope that resonates with you, and you feel comfortable enough to reach out to me. So to get a little bit transition now into some fun stuff, let's get into a little bit of the questionnaire. Some of the questions I know my sister asked me because they're so like specific, but a lot of you guys I don't know, and so I'm so grateful that you guys did that. Yay! So I'm just gonna go through a few of them. I asked like, what's a weird question that you have for me? And I know Lauren asked this because it's so weird. She said, when did you get immatized? And I just want to tell this like story really fast. Is growing up, Dad, I know you're listening. One of the reasons why I love my dad is because he always let me have room to be creative. He told me, he was like, yo, if you want to wear a dress up in public, you can. If you want to wear your shirt backwards, you can. Like, if you want to look like a goofball and a goober, you can. And I loved that. Like, I loved that I was able to have the freedom to just like make my own decision at a young age, and then I'm not like stopped by limitations. So I remember being younger and asking my dad, like, you know, the Webster dictionary, like, are they just like done writing words or what? And he's like, no, I mean, they can create new words. And I was like, well, okay, well, I want to create my own word then. And so I created the word immatized, and basically it meant, like, the definition was like when you're encapsulated by someone, like you're so in love with them that you're like starstruck and obsessed. Pretty much what I was to this celebrity, and I was immatized, and I made it into a song, and I was just like, I'm immatized. Like, it was super corny, whatever. But I know, like, it's like a running joke in my family now. My dad calls me the immatizer. Like, okay, yes, this is my family. If you're interested, you want to marry into it, let me know. But yeah, so Lauren said, when did you get immatized? Probably around 8 years old. So thanks for asking. Someone asked me, do you wipe sitting or standing? As transparent as I can be, both. Like, I don't know, it depends on the bathroom break, you know, depends on what I ate. And so I'm just gonna keep it real, to be honest. Who in your life has shown you love like Jesus? This is a really great question. So many people. My parents, for one. There were moments where I was a bad teenager. I was mean, I was depressed, I was upset, I was disrespectful. So bad. My parents showed me love. My parents did not hold those things against me. My counselor, a lot of professors at Evangel have shown me love, have shown me grace. A lot of my friendships that have seen me through the thick of it have shown me love. Bosses have shown me love. A lot of people have shown me love. And I'm really, really thankful that you guys did, because especially my parents, so much. And I get emotional about it because I just think about, like, you know, I went through a church split growing up, and I was really depressed and I was really upset, and I remember being so depressed to the sense where, like, I didn't want to live in Green Bay anymore and all this stuff. And I remember, this one's for you, Dad, I remember, like, I was so upset and I wanted to live somewhere else, and my dad wasn't going to do that. We weren't going to, like, leave our family and all this stuff. But I remember when he said to me, like, well, maybe I'll bring my resume, you know, like, send out to a few places. Like, when I was 16 years old and so depressed, it meant the world to me that he saw how upset and in pain I was, that he was willing to do that. And I don't even think he did, but, like, told me how much he supported me. And so I know that my parents have really, really shown me love. Oh my gosh, not me freaking crying on the podcast. Like, we knew it was a matter of time. You know, I just know that my parents have really shown me love like Jesus. And it's really difficult being like 11 hours away, but I love them so much, and their consistency really like means the world to me. So thanks, guys. Love you. Oh my gosh, wow, sorry. Friendship stories. There's a lot of different friend stories we could get into. But I wanna read this one. Someone asked me like the weirdest interaction I've had with a stranger, and it actually happened like a couple months ago. I think I brought her up on the podcast. Eva and I were hanging out with a few of our friends at Hotel V, and this grandma, this older woman, was just chilling there by herself, and she just reminded me so much of my grandma, and we just started like laughing so hard and like talking. And she was like, I'm a widow, and she was like, my man passed away and he was like my soulmate. But then like I started like bringing up goofy things my grandpa did before he passed away, and she was like, my man would never let me cook this. Like, she was so spicy and so cool, and she was in town for a wedding, but she was so wild. She was like, I'm in town for this wedding for like my niece, but like I'd rather hang out with you girls. And we were just like, what? But so basically this woman and I don't know how the conversation turned, but I was like this woman had to have been like upper 70s, early 80s. And I said, Queen, like, do you want to get matching tats? And she was like, I'm down. And I don't even remember the tattoo. Like, me and Eva had talked about it like with her. And I said some like corny little joke, and I think we were gonna get the joke like on our arm, and she was so serious about it. Like 80 years old, she texted me the next day, like the morning of the wedding, and was like, can you make an appointment for this afternoon? And then I was like, hey, I'm so sorry, like I actually have this thing, like I'm not ghosting you, like I wanna whenever you're in town next, like I want to get this with you, but I also don't think it's the best idea before this wedding, like have so much fun. I really am so glad I got to meet you. Like, she was just the coolest lady ever. And I told Eva, I was like, I want to be here when I grow up. But like the fact that I almost got matching tattoos with this 80-year-old woman that I just clicked with, I almost was gonna get it just for the story because she was so cool. Honestly, I have her phone number, so maybe I'll just like hit her up after this episode and be like, hey, I'm gonna fly out to you, let's get tattoos. Our story's not done yet. Like, her and I are going to reconnect here soon, and honestly, I'm excited for that. There's a lot of friendship stories to share. I know I've talked about it on the first episode ever, was when we jumped the fence at a Glass Animals concert and I met a throuple. It was just crazy, whatever. Like, that was just insane. There's a lot of just like crazy friend stories. I love my friends so much. Like, I'm so grateful for like all the insane moments we have. But yeah, definitely getting almost a matching tattoo with an 80-year-old woman that I just met was probably my favorite interaction this year. Fashion trends that we are loving. Obviously, you know me, I call myself the Latina Rachel Green because I love her. Trends I love anything oversized. I love denim, I love fabrics on fabrics, I love vintage, anything, and especially camo. Camo, as you can tell, is like all of the clothes I own. So definitely love that. Someone wants me to talk about the promise of waiting. And I think that's a really important topic, and I think there's so many different aspects of like what that can mean. And so I don't have enough time to talk about it fully on this episode, but what I will say is like the biggest things that I've learned in my life and what God's done is that it's better to wait for like the blessing and like the man or woman of God has for you than settle for instant gratification that's temporary. And I think it's really difficult, especially for me because I'm such a physical touch person, but really pouring that energy into other things and like trusting that God has the best plan. Because when I go to like weddings or I see relationships where I know these people like waited for each other and they push each other spiritually, it is like such a God-honoring relationship, and it's so beautiful, and it's like worth the wait, like worth the wait. I'm a man of God, I'm a woman of God, like let's vibe out, let's vibe, like worth the wait. People always tell me all the time, they're like, oh my gosh, like your type, you have such high standards, blah, 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 blah. At this point, like I would rather have high standards and like die alone. Like I would rather be alone with my friends and keep meeting new people than have to be with someone that cannot match me or my energy, like period. So I think that's where it's like, I feel like you will have peace from God and you will know when it is the right dude or girl. And so I encourage you that like you may feel isolated if you're waiting for whatever that may be, you know, physically or in a relationship, whatever, but just know that you are actually not alone. And one, you always have God, but there really are a lot of other people that are in the same position as you. So stay strong, stay strong and be encouraged by that, because, you know, I see you and I hear you. And just because everyone else in the whole world is living a certain way does not mean you have to live that way. I want romance in a relationship, and I'm not gonna settle for some hinge dude who wants to steal a boat. Like, I'm good. Like, swipe left. My gosh. So no, I'm gonna wait for the right thing, you know, and you should too. Someone asked for a day in the life of Morgan. I don't think y'all are ready for that. I do want to do like a vlog of that, and I think it'd be so much more fun visually. So we're gonna save that for a vlog and not the pod. Pod vlog, it'll be on the podcast page. Any advice you want to hear? A balance between healthy living and fun living. This is really big. I think there's two spectrums of that, which we're gonna come to a close here for the podcast in just a few minutes. But there's balance of healthy and fun spiritually and mentally, and also just like physically. So for me, like in terms of physically, like the first 3 days of the week, I'm like in the gym. I'm really big on, sitting in the sauna, relaxing my mind, working out, and whatever that looks like for me. I don't push myself super hard, but I'm big on consistency. And then the end of the week, that's when I do a lot of things like outside. I'll go on walks, I skateboard, I kayak, I'll play pickleball. I'm always trying to do some kind of physical activity to help my mind and to like relax and to feel strong. But I also think there's a healthy balance between your mental as well. If you're gonna hang out with friends, whatever, are you building yourself spiritually? Are you growing as a person? Are you, having a good social life? Like, I do not think your work should be everything. I think you have to have a balance and really identify like what that is for yourself. So it definitely is a balance, and my encouragement for that is, one, look to God, whatever, but like 1, evaluate your friend group. 2, do you have people in your friend group that you look up to and that you want to be like, that are pushing you to be better? Or are you technically the one that's like working the hardest in your friend group? Well, then find more friends that can push you. I love having friends that are smarter than me, that have been through more than me. That's why I have a lot of mentors that are older than me, because I'm like, I have to learn from you. I am a sponge. Like, you're so smart, you're so wise. So I do think, especially like in fitness, if you want to grow and have a trainer, then work out with someone that's more built than you or more fit than you. Like, do the things that are going to help push yourself, because you won't regret it. You will not regret it. There's a lot in here as well, patience and how to be more confident in yourself. The biggest thing that has helped me is knowing what I believe and like who I am in Christ. And I think when you know that, then everything else to me like doesn't really matter as much. Like, if a dude doesn't like me, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Like, I think it's really hard to not let this stuff affect you, and it does affect me. Like, there will be days that I will like be sad, but then you bounce back. And I think you have to have a foundation of who you are and what you believe. And even though not everyone's gonna see the same way as you or anything, you have to know who you are. So figure it out. If it's like spend time with God and like establish those things, know where you stand, it's gonna help you in every other area of your life and to be strong. Because even today, like I had a sales meeting with a potential new client, and the guy was older than me, and he was trying to like boss the meeting around and like tell me, and I'm like, look, dude, I didn't say this, but I just was like, I know my stuff. I'm confident in the marketing skills I have, and I know we have something that can help you. And so do not let your age define your confidence. Do not let your gender, do not let these things. Let God define you and your confidence in who you are, and be strong in that. And so that's my advice, and that's why there's moments where I'm not confident. There's moments where I am scared and I am insecure. But I will say that like I have the boldness to say this on this podcast because of what God has done for me. Because at the end of the day, I know that I have a relationship with Him where I report to Him. I don't report to you, And so that's where my relationship is at, and that's what I care about most. So my thing is like, I would figure out where you're at on that and where you stand. And I think that's going to help your confidence, because then like, this is not my strength, this is His. And shout out to His strength. That's the only reason I've gotten through these past couple months. A lot of people ask me to have more topics about music, beauty, and mental health on the podcast. And that's something that I 100% can do. So I'm excited. You guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I know it's crazy. I know it's been a lot. There've been some really low moments, but I've made a lot of new friends. I think I've grown spiritually, and there's a lot of other things too that I'm freaking scared, and I'm nervous, and I'm not great with like change and things like that. And so I want you to know that like I'm here with you. I'm also going through it, but I'm grateful for each and every day, and finding the joy in that, and finding the peace. So I love you guys. I hope you had fun with this solo pod. It was so crazy town. Of course, there's going to be 4 million updates. I try to give you guys all the updates. But I think we covered everything, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else that's really crazy new, or if there is, I'm sure it'll be on the Instagram. So quote of the day, what's the one that I did on my very first solo pod? Well, my very first episode, Life's a Garden, Dig It, by Joe Dirt. And I guess favorite song right now, it's by like We the People. It's like a TikTok viral song, but I love it. I just be listening to it. Oh, actually, scratch it. I love that song. It's great. Say It Ain't So by Weezer. I've listened to it like over and over again for weeks. I love to see Weezer. And then my legacy. I want people, when they see me, they see Jesus. And I'm not saying that in like a blah, blah, blah way. I'm saying it like, I want them to feel warm, to feel heard, to feel seen, and to feel loved, and to laugh. But it's like, that's what I want. I want you to feel that way, and you feel that amount of love and peace, and I want to be like that. So you guys, you're amazing. Please like, follow, subscribe. I have a YouTube channel as well, posting more vlogs. That's the vision for the podcast. You know me. The biggest thing I've learned as well in this time is to not compare yourself to other people. It's easy to compare yourself to other podcasts. Oh, I haven't grown this much. I haven't done blah. How much have you grown year over year? For you, personally, with the podcast in development, that's what's important, and things take time. Give yourself some grace. It's not a race, bro. It's a journey, and love what you do. I love you guys so much. Again, DMs are open if you ever need to chat. Please, leaving funny reviews is my love language. So if you haven't reviewed on Spotify or Apple, if you already did, please go to Facebook, leave a review. The goofier, the better. All right, you guys are amazing. Have the best week.